I stand firmly in the fact that I'm one of the best to ever do this. For the culture, for my coast, and for my city. This is the Best Rapper in LA podcast. And I'm your host, Murs. What up, though? Brilla 93. This is how we chill from 93 till. This is it, y'all. This is going to be a couple episodes probably, and I'm sorry to those who don't enjoy it. I don't even know if anyone's enjoying the podcast anymore. I haven't heard from anyone, but I love y'all. And I think it's been scattered and all over the place, but it's just reflecting my life. And I haven't really had time to plot things the way I want to plot them, or some things like last week's episode are just more emotional. And I feel, being that I come from an improvisational freestyle background, that's how I started rapping, I feel inauthentic when I plan too much. This one is important, so I'm going to start to plan it. If you're just hopping onto this podcast, this is maybe a good hopping on point. Or once we start the new album, that's another great hop. These next couple weeks, I feel like would be good hopping on points, or places if you wanted to share with someone this podcast, might be the time to do so. Man, where to start? I guess starting with where I started rapping. I just said that, and I haven't. Maybe there were a few episodes of this podcast that started on Patreon, and then the good brother Rob Van Vranken came in and reproduced them. But the commercial was my first tape in '96, and I told the stories behind that, and I don't know how much of that made it to this podcast. Back for no good reason. I was doing all the cassettes that I started with in '96, '97. But my first rapping was my stepbrother at the time basically saying, rap or I'm going to punch you in the chest. Because I'd started like throwing like my name into the like I'm bad and you know, even when you're a little kid in Linwood, California, it was, you know, was for the famous people, or for the out of towners. Compton adjacent, Compton and Watts, Southgate are the bordering cities that have more of a reputation. Fortunately, we were already divided. So we had Side Street Maniacs was our crew, and we had beef with the boys of Santa Cruz. It was like what would be like prep game type shit. But we had the one white kid in Linwood that I knew, and then my homie Michael was Mexican, lived down the street, and then a bunch of black dudes with skateboards. But there was a crew we heard about. There's really no reason other than we heard about them, called the Boys of Santa Cruz, and we were going to fuck them up when we saw them, just because that's what the bigger kids in our neighborhood. It's just I don't know how to describe that. But I started from making up raps about the Boys of Santa Cruz think they're hard, blah blah blah. We're going to do this and that. Like, that was me in third grade, and I skipped a grade, so I was probably, 7 or 8, fantasizing about having my own skateboard with my rapper image. I was like drawing the graphics for the deck. Like, that's how long I've been obsessed with skateboarding and rapping and comic books. So I had a brick wall on it, like busting out like the Hulk. Like, all of that was there from a very young age. And then once my I don't know if he walked in on me doing that in the bedroom or something, I was to rap in front of his friends in the back. Like, this went back when someone's dad would put us all in the back of a pickup truck with no camper shell, and we'd just be going to the park to practice, and everybody would hop out to football. You know, it was just that era. Like, we're going to a swap meet, and everybody's in the back of a fucking pickup truck with no seatbelts, and that was, to my knowledge, wasn't against the law yet. So for you millennials and Gen Zers that may listen to this podcast, probably very few of you, when they say things about us, no one gave a fuck about us, bro. I remember going over the train tracks, and like, it was fun to see how high you could pop up out of the truck bed and then land on and it's just metal. It's just a Nissan pickup, a Toyota pickup truck. And if it had a camper shell, it was like that was safe. You know, you got a camper shell so the kids could ride in the back, not seat belts, just fucking the vans with like the plush interior cloth, polyester cloth, so like where they're just beds and swivel chairs, like easy chairs in the back with no seatbelt, or with the seatbelt. Like, that wasn't sick. No one cared about us, bro. They did. I don't think they really wanted us to make it. High fructose corn syrup, red 40, Yeah, man. No one told us wrestling was fake. We're pile driving each other on the concrete for fun. Tackle football. We played a little bit. We would have enough sense for us. Some kids we knew played tackle in the street on the asphalt. We did two-hand touch, which just meant you could push somebody down really hard. Like, this is why we strapped roller skate wheels to the bottom of wooden planks and people jumped off the thing. Like, this is just, whether you're inner city or suburbs, like extreme sports in the suburbs, gangbanging in the inner city, we were out of control. Anyway, that was the start of me rapping. But I also wanted to start there because Animal Style is a song about the LGBTQI plus community before there was a term for that. Two gay young people.
Fresh out of high school, glad cause he hated it. Everybody in the senior class would call him gay, but it never bothered him. His name Jonathan, best friend Julie, she was cool, she went to prom with him. The principal said prom was no place for a queer couple. If he showed up with a boy, then there'd be real trouble. Empty threats, but what really got to him is that his boyfriend didn't want to go to prom with him. Boyfriend Roderick kept his secret closeted, scared to come out into this world of zero tolerance. Kinda popular, played a lot of politics. Jonathan was book smart, just received a scholarship. Off to college, wanted Roderick to follow him. He see him in the halls, but Rod would never acknowledge him. Away from school though, he was so affectionate. John had a good thing, no use in upsetting it. Besides in college, everything would be different. Everyone is educated, no one would be tripping, huh? He had it all figured out, plus his parents were excited just to get him out the house. So they bought him a ticket, even bought one for Roderick. Said to leave the end of summer, they would pay for all of it. So excited on his way to work it in and out. End of his shift, he drove straight up to Roderick's house. He hopped out, saw him with his crew. He walked right up, he was ready to share the news. It had been a few days, he forgot how much he missed him. So excited that he moved in and kissed him. Roderick dissed him, threw him to the floor. He said, "You faggot, what you have to go and do that for?" Looked at his homies, y'all know I'm not gay. They just shook their heads, turned and walked away.
Was I always an advocate? No. Was I a homophobe? I guess I have issues with that, but yes. I think it's a hate. I don't know if it's a fear, but you hate what you fear, but I think it's too scientific to like nip it in the bud. And I have had a friend that was legitimately fearful of, I don't even think he'd get to the point of hating homosexuals. Like if he was like tense up around gay men. And I don't know where that came from, but like a legitimate fear, and it could come from abuse. It could come, but like run, like hop over a bar to make separation between them, like leave a party. And it wasn't like F those F words over there. It was just like and like I said, that could have a lot to do with a lot of shit he hadn't unpacked. My story is, I just grew up just like the N word, the F word. I just grew up using it. Conversely, like the N word was ambiguous. You could be my nigga or fuck that nigga. And I rarely used the N word with the A as an insult. So I guess no, it wasn't ambiguous. Like it was a term, being that we use it as a term of endearment, as the great Q-Tip says.
Being that we use it as a term of endearment, niggas start to bug to the domas where the fear went.
The F word was slander and never used positive. But I didn't know what it meant. It was just like stupid, pussy. We had a litany of terms in the 80s to choose from. Like punk, sissy, punk, like all of it. Even with the F word, I didn't feel like it had to be someone that was effeminate, or it wasn't used to just describe feminine energy. That's what sissy or pussy was for. I understood sissy was someone who quote unquote acted like a girl. The F word was not, and for those, like, just to say it, I'm not going to say it once, to spell it once, F-A-G. Then when I say the F word, that's what I mean. In Europe, a bundle of sticks. That. If you're into etymology or whatever, like the history of words or whatever, like I guess, a bundle of sticks and people who like dick and all the other things that you could come to try to, if you care of unearthing the root of the word, I've heard a lot. I didn't know. We were inner city family, like Black family, lower middle class. I don't know exactly how much my stepfather and my mother made, but my mother worked at the dry cleaners in South Central. My stepfather was the head custodian at a school in LAUSD. If they don't pay the teacher shit, you can imagine what they pay the person who cleans the toilets. Although he was the head person, head groundskeeper, so to speak. You know, everything in our house, we spoke about this, was like, I thought we were on welfare because we had government cheese. You know, the milk in our refrigerator was the small cartons that came from the school. The orange juice in our house was the cartons of orange juice that came from the school. The mop was the LAUSD mop. The bucket was said property of LAUSD. The paper towels in our bathroom were the paper towels from LAUSD. Like, we lived in Linwood, California, predominantly, you know, black and brown neighborhood. My father worked for the school board, so I believe he was able to get a loan. But, you know, I walked around with a chipped tooth for 2 or 3 years because I couldn't get dental until my mother married someone who worked for the school board, who that was the only way we were able to afford health care. Not the projects, not destitute. I, you know, never went hungry until I was older. And that was my choice. But we didn't have lunch bag. Like, I never had a lunchbox. Not only would I have lost it anyway, but my mom wasn't spending money on me to have a name brand lunchbox or any type of lunchbox. So we used the bags from Frontier Market, which was a local market / carniceria. So I take my lunch to school in a Frontier Market bag. I would hold my bag on my wrist, talking to my friends, limp wristed with the handles of the white plastic bag, you know, when my hand through that and just letting it. But yeah, limp wristed, as some would say, like a gay male. I didn't know what a gay male was. I was just learning what sex was. I was introduced to porn around this time, introduced to magazines, videos, because my stepfather had it. Of course, I'll say, of course, my mother didn't have that type of stuff in the house. And I wasn't around a lot of boys. Like, back then, it was, if you brought a porn magazine to school, you were risking your life. You'd get expelled. You know, like, there was no secret. There was no phone to hide it on. So it's something that I discovered when I moved with my stepfather. But I think, as I discussed on this podcast, we were still so much like little boys and obsessed with the violence that we had more guns and ammo. Like, we had a little brick. For some reason, we thought on the side of the house, we'd stack up a thing of bricks and just put all our dirty magazines. And this, like, no one would look and say, why is there a stack of bricks, you know, in this little brick house we built? But we had one porno magazine and about 3 or 4 issues of guns and ammo. And we were, you know, definitely planning on growing up and shooting people that looked like us from a young age. We didn't want guns to hunt. We didn't think like, hey, we're going to own a house one day. We're going to need to protect it. We were thinking of gang warfare. When we become neighborhood Crips, this is this is the type of gun I want to shoot. S words, as they say, derogatory term for Bloods. Because at this point, they were still not, and in our neighborhood, there wasn't Crip on Crip violence. Now it's way more evolved and intricate. These are very hetero things, using the F word, still even unbeknownst, obsessed with guns and objectifying women. Like, these are things I wouldn't be able to identify yet, but these things were being piped in. But yeah, so holding my bag like this, talking to my friends. This happens to be the day that one of my parents sees me out front and says, why are you holding that bag like a F-A-G? Oh, I'm not supposed to spell it, maybe even to cancel me. Grabs me from the front yard all the way to the back of our home, beats the shit out of me. No belt. I'm used to getting a belt. I'm hit with a belt 1 to 2 times a week at this point. Minimum. Sometimes every day, because we didn't hang up our play clothes, because I didn't clean the toilet properly, because we didn't take out the trash. Like I said, I'm still navigating, getting my homework done, making sure my brother does his homework, making sure that we have snack, making sure that we get out of our dress. I had to change clothes, feed, snack, do chores and homework, and keep up with the Los Angeles Dodgers. And G.I. Joe, Transformers, plus school politics, because we were there at least once a week, somebody's fighting somebody. All those things, and a crush or whatever else I got going on. So I was bound to fuck up. So I was getting whippings, but this wasn't a whipping. There was no belt. It was like this person was acting off of impulse, they were angry, their homophobia, their hatred, or their prejudice, or fear, whatever you want to call it, for homosexuals is being transferred to me with their hands. I'm getting my ass kicked. I'm a slight kid as well. I'm barely 5'9", if on a good day, 5'8 3/4 now. 7 or 8 year old, and this is a grown person beating the shit out of me to the point, and I'm so confused because I don't know what a FAG is. I don't know what I've done wrong. I take the fade when it's like, okay, I know I didn't take out the trash. I know I didn't, like, at this point, even though it's not acceptable, it's acceptable violence to me. This, I'm like, what? I start vomiting. They beat me so bad, and I'm so confused and emotionally distraught that I vomit. Like, kicking me up onto the bed, throwing me on the head, like beating the shit. I got beat to where I'm running from being hit, and I run to the bathroom because now I have to throw up. And I think at that point the person sobers up from their anger, and I have no idea. From that point on, I learned not to hold, and not like. And now I can be honest. Like, now I have friends and elders, and that we openly talk about it, especially after this song, we talk about homosexuality. I had no desire to be with another man. And as we talk about the video and everything, like, trust me, I'm investigating. As weird as I am, I was open to that. So it wasn't that this beating made me never want to be. I had never any intent or inkling, or not intent, but I had no desire for another man. It's not how I'm wired. If they didn't beat it out of me, it was never in me. But now and now there's a spectrum. Like, maybe I would have been somewhere, maybe I would have been non-binary if there was a term for it, or not. Like, I don't, I'm so glad when I talk to kids today, like, no one's talking about how someone's holding their lunch bag or your limp wrist. Like, what? To me, it was just whatever. I was at that point, I was raised with my mother. That's how she holds her wrist. Like, you imitate physical cues. Like, that's how you learn to walk and talk. Like, but the person beating me didn't take that into account. I don't hold my wrist like that because I like dick. And nor would it be justified if I like dick for you to fucking hit me. And not just hit me. It wouldn't be even justified for you to say shit to me about it in my world. But it definitely wouldn't have been cool for you to hit me once. But to beat the shit out of me, like, as someone who's been jumped, I still have not had beatings put on me as I've had by grown men or young men. Knock on wood, like, I haven't been beaten as a grown man, but I wasn't grown till I was 30-something, I think. But I've been beat. I've been hit in the head with foreign objects. I've been in brawls. I've never been beat as bad as I've been beat by my parents and by that person. And never as much, twice, and once as bad as that. Once I was hit with the belt buckle on my face, and that threw me. But a consistent ass beating, never. So now I'm like, okay, this is a word. There's a lot of emotion around this word, a lot of violence around this word. Because now I started to think about what it means, and being that it's not in me, I'm like, oh my God, someone does what with their what in their where? No, what? That seems violent to me because it's not something I see as pleasurable. Conversely, I don't see what, penetrating a vagina is. I thought the vagina was to be penetrated from the direct front at this point, because we thought that all of, like, like, at this age, we're also like playing show me yours, I'll show you mine. All the vaginas I see have a slit, and you put it straight. Like, I don't know anything about the mechanics. I haven't, I've seen too much. I know too much for this age. And so even the act of gay men having sex seems violent to me. When a lot of sex I'm experiencing, the truth is the porno sex, I'm like, the pounding of women all the sex I know is violent, but I don't see the heterosexual sex as violent yet. But all I've been exposed to is violent sex. Now I'm like, okay, when the people are saying this, now I don't think the other kids I was with knew what this word meant, but that day they saw that. Like, I think this is how the discussion begins with us. Then the Bad video comes out, and then now Michael Jackson is a homosexual. So now I understand that. And there's no, at this age for me, there's no, this is before hip hop took over. Like, there's no cooler black man in America than Michael Jackson, unless it's Prince, but Prince always has a girl with him, but he's kind of on the spectrum the way he dresses and holds his hair and talks, right? So there's rumors about him being that way. Now the homophobia and the propaganda is really taking off. And if you really get into like Michael Jackson and the power that he had and Prince, like he's becoming the star of America. What is the best way to make most men of any culture, but especially black men, discredit him and bring down his value as a leader? You start these rumors. And who knows how he behaved or what, it wasn't a safe space for him to be that way. Maybe he was gay and still could be a great leader and a great artist. But then the pedophilia, who knows? Allegations began there for me in my world. We are barely surviving as a people. We are killing each other in the streets. We are selling poison to one another. Now that I know that the word means something negative, and I self-identify as a nigga with an attitude from a Compton adjacent city, Eazy-E, the biggest nigga on TV is my idol. We use derogatory terms. I'm not really thinking about who the fuck's feelings are being hurt. I have no self-worth. My parents beat the shit out of me. I'm fighting in the streets with my friends. I have all white teachers who really, their racism is really I'm starting to like internalize it. Now that I look back, I know I didn't openly see it, but now I'm internalizing it. I'm not making an excuse, but you have to understand my journey to being fully aware and sensitive and empathetic to the plight of the LGBTQIA plus community. I have to get to a point where I can see beyond my own suffering, or at least understand my suffering, my plight, before I get to sympathize or empathize with others. That's how I process it. It's not an excuse. This is just my journey to where I got, how I got there. And I think somehow my brothers and sisters, like, until you're in these, it's easy as a white kid who has woke parents or whatever. Like, I'm not treated as a fucking full human being. I don't even value myself as a full fucking human being. To me, I'm a servant of my parent. I'm a servant of LAUSD. If I don't meet the standards of these people, and I belong to the LAUSD and to my mother and father, or my mother and stepfather, and if I don't meet the needs or whatever, I'm punished at school and then I'm punished at home. If I don't do what I'm supposed to do at home, I'm gonna get the ultimate punishment. Like, that's it. Then it becomes my survival, and how do I get my family away from this abusive man? Then I become aware of the broader struggle of the Black American. I start reading the Black Panthers, and then I get into, later the philosophies of Chairman Fred Hampton. I'm like, okay, everybody's struggling. Then I get to live in a lower class white neighborhood in the San Gabriel Valley, and I start to meet neo-Nazis. I meet a kid who becomes a Nazi from being my friend, and seeing how like that dogma and propaganda of certain organizations is like nationalism and is used to radicalize people, Black and white youth, to oppose each other when we're all struggling under similar economic oppression. We're two men, we're still not thinking about the plight of the homosexual community that is also oppressed. I'm not aware of Harvey Milk. I'm not aware of, I guess I'm ignorant, but I think that implies like I'm not ignorant. Like, I don't know. Ignorant to me has a negative conversation. I haven't even been informed. It hasn't even been shot across my desk as the youth. And amidst my survival, even if it was shot across my desk, I'm not gonna pay any attention to that because I'm not gay. And it's hard to say, like, at the time, it's like, I'm not poor either. I'm not white. Like, I'm just focused on me. And the music is changing. The music is radicalizing. Everything is happening. And I don't have anyone teaching me about me. And the people that are teaching me about me aren't teaching me. They're also homophobes or haters of homosexuality, anti-gay. I'm just going to go with that for now. There's, anti-gay, there's anti-Semites in this community. There's all kind of things, but I'm not. This person is giving me knowledge of self. They're giving me self-worth. This is one of the few people speaking actual life into me aside from my mother. and my family, and with none of the downside. My mother speaks life into me, and then tomorrow, if I don't do what she tells me to do, it may not be the same. The love was always there. I love my mother for that. But the discipline, depending on the day, like, it's not always. But if I put in a rap tape, it's all love. It's all empowering. Even it's all validating. It's either validating my anger or my inflated sense of self-esteem based on arguable text written by cult leaders, if you want to call them, or religious figures or political activists, whatever you want to call them. So I'm reading Soul on Ice. I'm reading this, and I'm lost. And so many people like me are lost. Like, I don't think anyone can grasp the plight of the Black American male or female, the plight of Black Americans, unless you are one. And even then, it takes so much education for you to fully grasp what has happened to us. I didn't have the bandwidth to be an ally for the LGBTQI plus community. That is not an excuse. That is my story. And like I said, it's just a story. Do I wish I had? Of course. This is why I went so hard when I did. Because do I feel ashamed? Do I feel guilty? I feel all those things. I'm not justifying. I'm explaining. I hope that makes sense.
Now he's screaming at Jonathan, what the hell was wrong with him? John said, okay, it's over. Let's be honest then. They never knew the real you. They're not your real friends. He drove away and vowed to never speak to him again. It had been a few weeks before John left the college. He thought that they should speak. Scared to do it for fear of rejection. But either way, he knew the world would never accept them.
Dear America, when you tell gay Americans that they can't serve their country openly or marry the person that they love, you're telling that to kids.
Roderick was 17, in and out of jail since 10. Never knew his father or spent time with any other men. He started running in them circles with the hustlers, gang banging, dope slanging, had some loyal customers. Locked him up at a very young age, found religion and it ended all his criminal ways. He also found his first boyfriend when he was locked up. Came home conflicted, so he really didn't talk much. The beginnings of a double life. The chaplain back in juvie used to tell him that it wasn't right. His bond with God was so strong. It was until he met John. And it felt so perfect, but suffering eternal damnation wasn't worth it. He still had to see him. It had been 2 years. He knew that he could never leave him.
Now that I'm aware and I'm, we're living in the Bay and we're grinding tapes, like there are homosexual men and women that I come into contact with. And I'm kind, and I'm at this point, the white people, I think some are even fans of mine that are like, oh yeah, how could I be racist? How could I be anti-gay? I got fucking gay friends. I don't care that he sucks dick. So what? But I'm still saying the F word. Even up onto For Real. But that was the last time I ever put it on a song. Because this is just, my road. And I don't know. I'm never challenged on it. No one's ever challenged me. Even my friends that are gay, and I don't know if I've said it in front of them, but none of them ever challenged me. None of them was like, hey, you said that on the tape. Like we were doing business with I believe a man that was gay, and he would sell the For Real tape. And I can't imagine how he felt. But he didn't pull me to the side. I don't even know if he should have at that time. I wouldn't have received it. But it wasn't until about 2002, and somebody that's a publicist was hanging out with us, and we were in the car, and it came up, and they were like, yeah, I'm not gonna work your record if you're gonna talk like, I don't work with artists who say that on their album. And I was like, I didn't plan on saying it, but now I want to say it because fuck you. You're white. You don't know, we don't, like, if we say the N-word, we should be able to say that. I had this whole argument. And I'm not going to go into it because it's invalid. But at the time, I had a whole argument. And it was authentic from where I was at, but I wasn't right. And I didn't use the record. I think that's the thing. Is like I had the opportunity to do it, but also too, I wasn't going to do it just to slight that person, But I also, it was also one of those words, like me saying cuz, I've been saying cuz, that's how me and my brother have spoken to each other since we were children. I won't say our whole life, but almost our whole life. But I never put it on record because I didn't want to endorse anything that had such a charged word that would make me have to attack someone or want someone to attack me, or just to endorse a lifestyle. Like, I appreciate the camaraderie that comes with gangbanging, but I don't appreciate the negative aspects. We said it too many times on this podcast, and you know where I stand. I love the brotherhood. I love the protection of the community. I love some of the principles of it, being a man of your word, standing against the odds, standing your ground. But I don't believe in killing or violence against other oppressed people or just against other human beings in general. I'm fucking vegan.
Bitch, I'm a vegan. Bitch, I'm a vegan. Bitch, I'm a bitch, I'm a bitch, I'm a vegan.
But taking care of your own at all costs and being flagrant and open about it, I support. Being active, as they say, 10 toes down, pressing a firm line, all the things. I love it. But I didn't want to put cuz on record. I didn't want to, I should have stopped putting the N-word on record. Took me to this album. And I still have will.i.am saying it on there. But at least my children know not to say it. Or know that there's something that comes along with it. I'm sure they might start saying that they're inner city kids of color. Around this time, I had my first up close experience. Someone close to me was born, a new child, a new life. I've known this life and interacted with this person on a regular basis. Him. And we were at an event for the inner circle. I guess family, not doesn't have to be blood related, but we're at a family event. And this individual was 3 years old, possibly, maybe 4, maybe 5. And in our circle, in my inner family, like not always blood related, but in my family, in most of our community, like homosexuality is not encouraged, but it's still like taboo, not talked about. And even within our family, and I said it like loosely, not blood related, but my parent, I talked to about the beating I received because they thought I was exhibiting homosexual traits. I said, why? Why did you do that to me? And they said, don't even remember it, but I remember that's the time that someone close to us in our family came out. And I was angry. And I was scared. And I took that out. Apparently I took that on you. They legitimately didn't recall and were in tears and disgusted. And, it was a lot of healing in that for me. And if you have anything you're holding against someone above, like older than you, talk to them while you can about it. Because if they love you and you have a healthy relationship now, it's probably something they don't remember. And as I'm a parent, like my kids tell me all the kind of shit I fucked up on. I'm like, damn, I said that shit. I'm so sorry. I get usually when I lose my temper, I get to apologize. And that's another reason I don't fly off, because I know what it's like to be like fly off, like I have someone fly off the handle. I try not to. I'm not perfect by far. But this person apologized and they said, yeah, this is when, this person came out and I was angry. And, it's so funny how the actions of someone else, this is another thing I learned. I'm still trying to learn, like the actions of someone else shouldn't cause you that much discomfort if they're not harming anyone else. What they do with their body with consenting adults should not anger you or have that much, what's wrong, but it's society. Like they were fearful for me and this person because you're black. You already have everything against you, stacked against you in this country. Why add another thing on top of it? Because you choose to. Why choose this? So that's another thing. I was very much firm in my mind that homosexuality was a choice. And then this little boy came along. And we're setting up for this family event. He gets the Casio keyboard. He hits something on there. And they said, just say something on the microphone. This little dude came out with Somewhere Over the Rainbow in a whatever falsetto and smashed. And it was in that, like, I can see, and I know people believe it's against God, but like it was something. Like he was shining. It was like radiating. Like it was him in his purest form. He had no idea that he was doing something gay or feminine or anything. This little boy was singing from his heart, something that he identified with, that he gravitated toward. And he wasn't saying I'm gay with this song, but I'm like, oh, he's gay. Now that I've met gay men, I had been in contact with in the community, so to speak, way more than I had not in the community, but I had been in whatever. I've been around gay people and them being themselves. Like, okay, I know what this energy is, and I saw it in him, and I saw it in him the way it may have been in the I won't say friends, but the acquaintances I had. Because I wouldn't have been a good friend to any of them at that point. Even they thought we were friends. I wasn't a good friend to them. Before it got damaged by society, I was like, oh, dude's gay. Cuz gay. Like, that's it. I didn't feel hate. I felt, oh, at that moment, I was like, it's not a choice. It's not a fucking choice for some people. Maybe it's a choice for other people. But I've known this little boy his whole life. And I know before he knows. And yes, he's a gay man. And I watched him grow up in our circle. And I didn't know how to advocate. As I started asking my friends, then I had friends who were gay. Like, what do you think? How can I advocate for this man? Or this boy in a household that is extremely homophobic? What do I do? He hasn't come out yet. They're like, well, if he hasn't come out, you can't say anything. That's not how it's done. I asked a couple people, it doesn't mean it's the gospel, but I definitely is better than my opinion. So I'm like, all right, I'll write a song for him. So then my family will know where I stand. The world will know where I stand. And he knows that he has a safe space with me. And I have friends around me that I still believe are gay that don't come out, that do a whole hetero charade. And I was hoping one of them or would come out as well. That still hasn't happened. But that was this was my ally. How can I apologize to the world? How can I open myself up to the community? How can I make amends for my actions? This is also, to me, as much as probably they'll hate it, like this is something that, like, to me, gangbanging talk. Like, how can I spin the block for my loved ones that I've disrespected? How do I make this right? I got to write this song. I had the idea. I brought it to a couple producers I was working with over the years, and they shot it down. A black man shot it down immediately. Nah, excuse my French. Niggas will let you say any motherfucking thing you want. Hey, y'all, I'm finna diss Barack Obama. Somebody will have a beat for that shit. Niggas did not have a beat for this motherfucking song right here. They did not. But as we're on our 100th, 11th family reunion, I had one of my talented cousins send me a beat. And when I heard that beat, I knew it was worth it. And I knew that he would be amenable, like, because we're family. And my generation, we don't do that. It ends with us. We don't do homophobia. We don't do that. My uncles and older cousins, a couple of them have had to go through some bullshit with. We're not doing that over here. And I said that, and that's the shit. Like, I'll bang on that shit. Like, running all fades on that shit. Like, we're not doing that. We're not shaming anyone, and especially anyone in this family. It's like when you have to be anti-racist. I am anti-homophobic. I just don't like the term homophobia because it makes it a fear. It makes it a clinical thing. It's nothing clinical. It's just there's nothing delicate about it. I'm anti-gay. Like, I'm anti-Nazi. Like, there's nah. It's not gonna happen. Those are what, as we spoke on this podcast, like, those are things I don't have control over myself. I was never someone that would attack someone because they were gay at any point, even at my most ignorant, because I was attacked at a young age for being thought to be gay. So I guess that cleared that up. If anything positive came out of that, it was that. If you like dick, if you like to lick vagina, if you don't know what you like, if you like to wear dresses and women's underwear, as you may not know, as the great Marvin Gaye did, if I can, I'm not going to let anything happen. And I'm definitely not going to be the one to assault you. There's never that. I've always anti-bully. Fuck that shit. How can I say that without, being a meathead? It was ally song. I can't frontline it. I can't be like, and fuck y'all motherfucking homophobes. I'ma sock you motherfuckers in your nose. Like, I can't. That didn't seem right. You know what I mean? Even the route I took was questioned. And I don't say questioned. When the song drops, this is the only song on the album not produced by Ski. I don't know where he stands on it. I don't remember if I asked him about it, but at that time I was done asking producers. But he definitely wasn't opposed to it being on the album. He's never gone out of the way to say, I didn't produce that song. But when my cousin sent the beat, and he sent beats as I was working on this album, I was like, this is it. I knew it. So I don't even know if I asked Ski. I did have to ask Ski if it was going to album. He was completely cool with it. So I don't want Ski to be lumped in with the producers that said no. I wasn't even thinking of asking any more producers at this point. I was hoping to maybe find a gay producer. But when I got that beat, I remember where I was sitting in Dame's apartment, and I was like, oh shit, this is it. And I just started writing the story. The story had been in me, and I'm not going to pause it on that one. His story had been in me for a long time. I said around, like, once I saw my family member, my little homie, I was like, I knew I had to do it. And then once I figured it out, so I would say, had to be post Murs for President. I would have loved to put that song on Murs for President. No, it was pre Murs for President. It was the first time I asked a producer about it. Was around that era when I was working with different producers. And I'm not a person like the Tech 9 feature that we get to talk about. Like, I didn't get a Tech 9 feature on any Murs Day, none of my Murs albums, because I didn't hear it. I have a verse with Kendrick on She Needs Me. I never asked Kendrick for a verse because I've never had a song or a beat where I heard Kendrick on it. Me and shout out to Holt, aka Hollywood Holt. He's the same way. He has a lot of friends he knows he could ask for favors, and he never asks until you hear it. Like, I never asked Tech to be on a song until I had to do a whole album with Seven. And out of all the, Seven is Tech 9's predominant producer, or was. Out of all the beats Seven gave me, I only heard him on one in that same way. I never asked because I'm not just like a give me a feature guy. And same thing with beats. Like, I'm never like, I'm going to take this beat and do this to it. I stopped doing that at a very young age. Once I had a choice of beats, I would just let the beat that spoke to me. Every song you hear, it's because the music told me. Even if I have an idea, I'll hold that idea till I meet the music that it's for. When my cousin sent this beat, and my cousin is superb. Shout out to Embassy, the hitmaker. He got some slaps, bro.
Hey, nigga, my cousin did this beat. Hey, what up, nigga? My nigga. Hey, we been down for so long. Nigga, remember when we went to the Batman premiere together? First day? And now you make shit that's... Woo! I've been up, I've been down, I've been high, I've been low, I've been known to spit flows, to rip shows, to get dough, get homes, to get laid, and get paid for the spit, and it's so many ways I'm amazed by this shit. It's a trip that I get.
Oh man, we've done a couple songs, and he lets me do what I want. Pause. That's what I was pause that one, because we're back to being funny. But and shout out to Embassy. Never paid this man for a beat. He's doing well for himself, though. I love my cousin. And yeah, that was it. I was like, this song has to go on this album, and it has to be said now. And I think that's too because I felt safe with Ski as a producer. I felt safe with Dame as an executive, as a black, very hetero, very opinionated. The man who says pause heard that song and said, my nigga, if that's what you want to do, I got you. You gonna do the video for that? All good. Like, never once. I've had so many motherfuckers that are PC in front of the fucking camera say no to doing this song, or they wouldn't put it out on the label, and this motherfucker was like, yeah. Damon Dash. Shout out to him. Shout out to Ski. Shout out to Embassy, the hitmaker. I think that's a good place to end this week's episode. We'll get into the lyrics and the song and all the video and all that, and the fallout or fall or whatever you call it, about the aftermath after that. Nobody told you that. I fucking love you. Peace.
So we lived in fear of God's wrath. The preacher said God loves us all except fags, and that made him so mad he started packing his bags. Said he'd run away with John until it went all bad.
Like, did you hear about him? Like,
Yeah, I always knew, like, John was...
yeah, I mean, like, Jonathan, that's my friend. He's my gay best friend, of course. But, like, Roderick? I fucking kissed him. He tried to fuck me.
He said Roger kissed him
What the fuck?
at his house.
I don't have any.
Right in front of his
Do you
boys
think
and
I
all
have
that
something? Should I
shit.
go get tested? Fucking
He tried to beat him up and play it off.
Fucking piece of shit faggot. What a fucking bitch.
Man, I'm so glad
Fucking
we
cunt.
graduated.
I fucking hate him.
The big incident. John slipped in front of his friends and started kissing him. Now everything was different. He shut him out, never thought about forgiving him. Until he got that text. John wanted to meet up the day after next. They met at In-N-Out on his dinner break, but he was so mad that he couldn't look him in the face. Soon as he spoke, they both started crying. Said he missed him so much, he felt like he was dying. John said, I can't describe how much I missed you. That's when Roderick pulled his pistol. He shot him right between the eyes, then turned it on himself cause he refused to live a lie. Suicide was against his beliefs, but he knew it was the only way they'd ever find peace.